Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my August 2019 horoscope report for you. It is my intention with this video to give you the things that I think you need to know to help you make this the best month possible and learn some astrology while you're at it. Definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and see all of the resources I have there, including amazing new and full moon blogs to assist you in maximizing those power periods we have every month. If you are into how I teach and you want to learn for personal or professional purposes, check out my astrology apprenticeship program, also on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Go to radicalprayerbook.com to see my new book, which is an Amazon bestseller, Radical Prayer, Transform Your Life and the World in 28 Days, which has become a beloved favorite of my fellow spiritual seekers. So what's in the stars for you this month? I'm going to go into lots of details, so let's check them out now. Hello, Gemini friends. Welcome to my August 2019 horoscope report for you. This is a month full of happy surprises, and we have got so many possibilities in store. This is one of my favorite months of the whole year for anything important, making big decisions, for launches, for wonderful things coming your way that you've already worked to bring into fruition. This month is so much lighter and so much more sparkly than July, because July, although much transformation was afoot then and many wonderful things could have come in then, it was really heavy with emotional energy and the energy of the eclipses besides the water energy. So the intensity, the uncertainty of that month is dissipating into this brilliant, sparkly, crackling with positivity, totally different story here. So we've got two new moons that are affecting this month, one right at the beginning, kind of towards the end of the previous, and then one at the end, so bookending there. We've got Jupiter finally moving direct, so if things had been starting to expand for you earlier in the year, and then they started to stall out, it might have been because Jupiter went retrograde. So when Jupiter goes direct, you might start to see things start to pick up at a rapid rate. So we've got that going on. So I am going to show you the charts, and I'm going to show you the fields of experience that are lit up for Geminis with these positive, sweet potentials. We've got two little baubles of some possibly unwelcome jolts, but just predominantly happy surprise potentials. And we'll talk about the areas of life that you are likely to see those. I'll show you the charts, and then I'm going to give you an extra bonus to show you some information on how you can transcend negative astrological patterning so that you can make the most of the potentials and not just be stuck in the same negative things over and over again. This is really important, exciting information. And then after that, I will talk more about the general transits and specifically the dates of these amazing aspects so that you can write them down and look out for possible manifestations. So let's go into all this now. Okay, so let's check out where those happy surprises and some of those other things that I mentioned are going to show up in your charts. So some of the things that I talk about will be true for all Gemini placements, but I am going to break it down into early, middle, and late when there are shifts in the manifestation potentials. So early degree Gemini are basically our May born or 0 to 9 degrees. Middle, June 1st through 10th or 10 to 19 degrees, and late around June 11th through the rest of the sign, or 20 to 29 degrees. If you have Gemini moon or Gemini rising, then this report is for you equally. I always recommend watching at least the reports for your sun sign and your rising sign. And for those of you who want to go even deeper, you can watch reports for your moon sign, and they will all carry a piece of the total picture for you. Okay, so I want to break this down a little bit to show you what is happening. In general, for Geminis, all of this energy in Leo, with this soon to be there, including the new moon, it's going to be in there as well, is all occurring at beautiful 60-degree angles to your Gemini placement. So this is a lot of sweetness, and remember that in general, the 60-degree angle can sometimes bring just nice things, but a lot of times it has to do with the ingredients on a counter for the pie, and you have to do something with it, and you can't get mad and say, where's my pie? You have to actually take the opportunities and turn them into the pie. So the 60-degree angles will be giving Geminis a massive amount of potential opportunities that you may have to take some action and an active role in your destiny to actually activate. So that part of the month, which is dominated by Leo energies, is going to be super sweet for Gemini placements. As we move into the Virgo placements, the aspects which I'm going to show you, those are a little different. These have to do with knuckling down. So towards the end of the month, especially, this energy of knuckling down and like getting organized and not being scattered and getting down to business and getting a routine together. See, this 90-degree angle is causing some pressure. It doesn't flow as nicely as these beautiful placements do, but especially because there are going to be so many beautiful aspects in Virgo, the general energy of the stars is, just super sweet and awesome. And this can feel good. Maybe it'll feel like a welcome bringing to routine, a welcome, just getting back to basics and getting a good schedule together to get some stuff done. So maybe all these potentials came up from this, these aspects with Leo, and then maybe now the Virgo energy will actually help you do something with them. And that would be amazing. Okay, so now let's look at what is happening and why this month is so sweet. We've got Uranus chilling at about 6 degrees. All month is just going to be hanging out at that point. So the two bumps that we have are right in the beginning of the month when Venus is going to get to the 6-degree point and it's going to square. Okay, so that's a point of tension. And then on the 16th, Mercury is going to get to this, around 15th or 16th, is going to get to this point at 6 degrees and it's going to square it. So right in the beginning and right in the middle, we've got our two possible surprises that aren't as happy or welcome, but that is the minority, okay? And these are likely to have something to do with money, and this is for all signs actually because Venus is involved. Likely to have something to do with love, likely to have to do something with your, self-esteem, how you feel about yourself or your certainty. And then the challenges could come in the house of the third house. This is for early degree. So the third house, and let's see if middle you might be in there too. Okay, there could be some third house carryover here. Well, I'll tell you what this means in a second. Late degree, that's going to be more of the second house. Okay, so for you early and middle degree people, this could have to do with something with your car or device because of this third house, or a sibling or a relative other than your parents or kids. There could be some extra jolts in those departments. But remember, even with these jolts, they're probably going to be short-lived unless there's something coming from those eclipses, which could be a longer-term manifestation and wouldn't be related to all of these sweet aspects or even these challenging ones I'm talking about. These are probably going to be short-lived because Uranus is involved. That's super fleeting, and these planets bust through really fast to make this aspect. So if there is something that comes up as a challenge, for early and middle, like with the devices or the transportation, a bump, like maybe a literal bump with your car or something like that. And for you late degree placements, this will put extra highlight on your money house because Venus is the money sign, and then the second house is a money house. Those will likely be short-lived. Okay, so now let's talk about the sweet stuff. Okay, so let's give an overview of the sweet things that are going to happen. Jupiter is going to be hanging out around this 14-degree mark. So as these planets pass over 14 degrees of Leo, they're going to make trines. They're all going to make trines with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, which as of August 11th is direct. So anything that was starting to move forward for you earlier in the year that sort of stalled out, as Jupiter goes direct, those things can pick up steam and start manifesting quite quickly. And so these aspects, as they pass through, can bring lots of news of expansion. So the areas of life that are going to be affected by the sweet surprises, okay, so, well, first, I'm going to make a grid for you. I just want to outline the story. Okay, so that's the first series. I'm using the early degree chart, but this is true for all placements. And then we'll drill it down by house. Then, since Uranus is going to still be here at this 6th degree, as all of these planets get to 6 degrees of Virgo, then they are all going to trine Uranus, which is a planet of surprises, which can bring happy surprises as even more of a prominent manifestation because of the sweet angle. Okay, so we have just a massive amount of energy in this cluster that's passing through kissing that, then passing through kissing that. So the whole month we've just got this constant sequence of these aspects. All right, so now I'm going to talk about the houses, the fields of experience that you're likely to see as a Gemini for early, middle, and late. All right, so we'll put early, middle, late. I'm going to break it down by house here, and then I'm going to tell you what the house energies can tend to bring. Let's get that out of the way. Okay, so for early, you're going to have, so it's basically happening around 14 degrees of Leo through 6 degrees of Virgo. And for your early degree placements, that's going to encompass this 3rd and 4th house. Okay, so we'll put 3rd and 4th there. It's going to involve Jupiter, which is in your 7th house. Okay, and it's going to involve Uranus, which is in your 12th house. Okay, so now let's look at the middle degree placements. See where the 14 degrees of Leo to 6 degrees of Virgo shows up for you. We'll put it on our little grid here. All right, so 14 degrees through 6 degrees, this is going to be 3rd and 4th house. And then Jupiter is here with the 7th, but it's close enough to the 6th, so 6th could show up. And then it's on the line here, so 11th or 12th. All right, so we have all of those fields of experience that these happy surprises in August and even pushing through into September can start to show up. Well, for the late degree, (14 degrees through 6, that's going to be mostly centered around this 3rd house, but there is some chance for this 2nd house. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. And Jupiter's in the 6th. So let's see here. 2nd, 3rd, 6th. And then Uranus is clearly in the 11th. All right, so now let's talk about what these houses can tend to bring so you know where those happy surprises are more likely to show up. Let's get all this out of the way. Okay, so the 2nd house has to do, okay, so for the late degree placements, the 2nd house has to do with money. Now, even though you have possibly this money sector being accentuated, everybody in the cosmos has a chance for money stuff to come up in a big way because Venus is involved in some of these aspects, okay? So anything having to do with money, making more money, earning more income, buying something valuable that you've been wanting, you know, something materially coming in a big way. And this can also have to do with sustainability projects. So people who are into environmentally focused things, that can show up. Early, middle, and late degree placements can see these sweet boosts. And we talked about the positive jolts before in those houses that have to do with devices, so communication, transportation, so phones, cars, you know, things like that. So if you've got a jolt that comes and then you've got all this sweet energy, maybe something goes on with your phone, but then you upgrade. Or something goes on with your car, but then you get a better one. Or you release your car and then you're excited because you don't have a payment and it's easier. Or, you know, something in that. And this also has to do with siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, things like that. So you might see opportunities that arise in those. And also this has to do with communication, just in general. So, you know, just your communication, this can have to do with writing, editing, in some cases publishing, although that is often more saggy, but we can see some publishing things show up here in this 3rd house. Okay, so you might have your sweet surprises in any of these. The early and middle, you might see the fourth house show up. So home and family, something moving forward involving home, housing, real estate, home-based businesses, things like that. Your happy surprises could, or have a more of an outlet to pop through here. Right? Then, oopsie. I was trying to write, not erase. So middle and late, you've got sixth house focus, which is your daily work, like your office dynamics and things involving pets and animals. If you're self-employed, this can be like work or income or new clients, things like that. And this can also be a positive change to your structure or something sweet that happens when you're moving along your day, like you're just going to the store, you're going to yoga, you're going to do the stuff you do every day, and then these sweet surprises show up in your daily experience. Okay, so I got a little crowded down here, but the seventh house was actually a possibility for middle and for early. So seventh house has to do with your relationships. So sweet surprises involving relationships for early and middle. This could have to do with clients or finding perfect practitioners, people to help you, employees, a plumber, anything like that. And can be business, collaboration clients, or anything having to do with one-on-one relationships. And then middle and late, you are more likely to see the 11th house brought up, although I have to tell you too that everyone in the cosmos is likely to have 11th house surprises because the planet Uranus is involved. So you early Gemini friends, you have this house accentuated through the fact that the sign is accentuated, but it's just doubly true for middle and late. And this has to do with internet-based projects, anything having to do with online, social media, friendships, acquaintances, groups, humanitarian efforts, large organizations, anything having to do with something forward-thinking, technology of any kind. There could be happy surprises in those arenas. And if you need to do a launch, if you're an internet-based launch or any kind of launch, this is my favorite month of the whole year, as far as how many beautiful aspects there are that aren't mitigated by some, too many negative ones. There are going to be some launching points later in the year that I like, but this month is just the most full with sweet aspects. So I love launches this month. It's one of my favorite months of the whole year. Okay, and then the early and middle, you've got some 12th house things here, and that could have to do with psychological breakthroughs, spiritual breakthroughs, the discovery of something hidden that could turn out to be something awesome. So finding something valuable in the attic, or literally or figuratively. So we have not experienced, nor will we experience for a while, a month that is so full of potential happy surprises. We've got those little bobble points to get around, but I'm excited to see where some happy surprises can show up for you. They can seem like they're coming all of a sudden. And do always remember that when we talk about astrological potentials, we're talking about potentials. So if you're looking to the horoscope to see what will happen, then nobody knows what will happen. Infinite Spirit knows what will happen. But what we can look at is the potentials for things and the increase in potentials for things. So there's an increased chance of notable things in these areas. It increases the probability. Just like a meteorologist will say it's 90% chance of rain. Well, is it definitely going to rain? Not necessarily. And then that has to do with how your energy field is able to accept in things that could come in from these potentials. If you're not a vibrational match, then you might not have those happy surprises come in. So if you notice that as astrologers are saying, oh, this could be good, this could be big, this is be great, and you're not having any of that happen, it's not because the astrological potentials are wrong or aren't there. It's because you are vibing at a certain vibration and you are calling in certain potentials from the universe, and only you can be accountable and responsible for that. Okay, so now I have a special treat for you. I'm going to drop in a lesson about how to transcend negative astrological patterning. Speaking of which, so if you're finding the negative potentials seem to manifest for you more readily than the positive ones, there could be some wiring in there that you have to work to overcome. So I'm going to put in a segment about overcoming negative astrological patterning, and then I'm going to talk about the general transits, which includes a listing of the dates of the positive aspects so that you know which dates are beautifully lit up with these beautiful aspects we've been talking about. Okay, welcome to my special section on transcending negative astrological patterning. This has been a focus of mine for the entire time I've been doing astrology, which has been almost 2 decades now. I have always gone into astrology as a self-development tool, understanding what's going on so that we can use the information to create the best experience from it. Now, the more you follow astrology and you start to see the amount of things that are true that you can see in there, both from your wiring and the things occurring in the stars, then you start to, some people will start to get a fatalistic attitude towards it and think, wow, since all of that's in there, I must be doomed to continue experiencing that. And for many people and in many instances, that is actually occurring if you are not actively clearing the negative astrological patterning. There's a very complicated discussion as to what it is we bring in with us astrologically and where those pieces come from. But for this discussion, I'm going to focus on strictly the genes, the DNA, the genetics, okay? So this has to do with our ancestry, our bloodline, and things we pull in genetically. Now, we don't just pull in medical issues genetically. We don't just pull in how we look genetically. I believe that we pull in belief systems, and as we are imprinted with these potentials in the genes, we are then in a situation where nurture, our environment, can help to express those potentials or help to express different potentials. So, if you're feeling trapped in something that has been a pattern in your life, whether or not you also notice that that was a pattern in your genealogy, there are ways that you can get the better end of that. If there's something awesome programmed in, like you're a math wizard or an artistic genius, then yeah, we want to keep that, right? But we're talking about the negative astrological patterning, these belief systems that are creating our reality, a lot of times completely out of our awareness. And even when you start to become aware that it's in there and you're creating from it, the task of clearing it up is, very rigorous self-development. But it can be done. Those subconscious programs have to be dealt with because those are creating the environment for your cells, for your DNA to actually express. So I want to talk about a scientist. His name is Bruce Lipton. He's a stem cell biologist. You can find Bruce Lipton on YouTube. You can get his book, The Biology of Belief. Okay, this is landmark stuff here. And it directly relates to astrology because astrology shows us genetics, basically, that we come in with. And I'm seeing this more and more all the time. All kinds of genetic issues and genetic tendencies are being carried over. You can see them in the chart. Okay, so the biology of belief, you can find that to go deeper into this. But basically what happened, okay, so I'll give you the story of what's gone on because this is going to help empower you with the goal of transcending negative astrological patterning to understand this from a scientific perspective. Okay, so the basis of the biology of belief is that genes do not control life. Okay, that's a big bomb, right? Big bomb. So when Bruce Lipton was doing experiments that brought this epiphany, he was going into a cell and removing the structure called the nucleus. Okay, so the nucleus is the structure that contains the genes. So if genes control life and you throw away the nucleus, then there shouldn't be anything to control life in the cell, right? Okay, so he explains that there's a joke that the cells can live for 2.5 more months with no genes at all. and they still carry out all of the complexities of life. Move around, eat, breathe, you know, just they move through life. So then the first thing you have to ask is who's controlling the cells if it's not the genes, right? So this is a really big deal. Okay, so then the big boom for him came where he had, so basically he would put stem cells, isolate one stem cell and put it in a petri dish. Okay. Then it would divide every 10 hours, and after a few days, he'd have thousands of cells. All right, so they're multiplying, they're dividing. So they all came from one cell, meaning they were genetically identical. So then he got to where there's like 10,000 cells in a petri dish, okay? Then he would divide, separate out the cells into 3 petri dishes. Okay, so he takes them from there and he puts them in there. Okay, so now these are genetically identical cells. Okay, this is the thing to note. Then what he did is he changed the growth medium. Okay, so the liquid in there, he changed. He made, so the cells are identical, but he changed the growth medium. Okay, so that's basically the constituents of the environment. All right, so these red and orange and green pieces, or matter here, that is representing different environments. Same cells, genetically identical, different environments. So then what happened was, the first dish formed bone. The second dish formed muscle. And the third dish formed fat. All right, so hopefully you're getting this. This is clicking because this is like, it's mind-boggling stuff. Identical. And then they formed all these completely different outcomes based on their environment. So what he is saying, and I concur, is that our environment is what is calling the shots. Now, of course, there are other factors, and we could nitpick and look at, and analyze, and nothing is as simple as one way, right? But this is a huge piece. So this means that if we change our inner environment and be mindful of our outer environment, we can start to change how the astrological potentials manifest for us in the form of our life and our experience. Okay, it's very exciting. Okay, so a basic summary is the environment includes a massive amount of factors, and we won't get into them all now. But included in the environment is our perceptions, which are shown when we look at the astrology. When we're looking at a chart, all of the different placements in there, different signs and houses, they're showing us a tendency towards perceptions. And even the outer transits, when they're happening in the sky, when planets are getting together, certain configurations, they tend to create us having a tendency towards certain perceptions. A perception might be we're excited, hopeful. A perception might be we're like a victim and there's a tyrant, so these different tendencies to have a perception, we can see those astrologically. So the tendency to have a certain perception is synonymous with karma. If we see something a certain way, we draw to us certain experiences. So basically, changing perceptions changes karma and changes the DNA expression, which changes potentials, which changes outcomes. So we can basically have more say in our lives by changing our perceptions. seeing how the perceptions we have are creating our experiences. And sometimes they're deep inner unconscious, subconscious perceptions, but you know you're having a certain perception because of the outcome. Like if you are having trouble with money, you know inside you have a perception that you can't earn money, that you, for whatever different reasons, you know, if you have a perception inside that you can't trust partners, well then you pull in people that aren't trustworthy, you know, things like that. So pinpointing perceptions, which you can do very nicely with astrology, shifting the perceptions with tools, like I always, you know, suggesting EFT and many other things, help to change those perceptions. And that changes the environment, which affects the whole cascade. It's very empowering. It does create a need for accountability, though. Like, our current circumstances are sourced within us and outside of us, but because that's part of the environment, but our inner environment, we can affect our perceptions, and then we can still change all of that. So you can see from all of this why I always talk about inner work and why I can't separate astrology from coaching or suggesting inner work and self-development, because how you experience the stars is going to depend on your perceptions. And if you want to have a better experience, you have to change the perceptions. Well, then you have to use the tools to change the perceptions. And that goes from a victim mentality to true empowerment, that we have the power. So you have the power. You have the power to change your life. You just have to be diligent, consistent with effective inner tools. I'm calling the theme of August 2019 for all signs, happy surprises abound. This is one of my favorite months of the whole year for sweetness and magic and wonderful things. There are way more sweet aspects this month than there are salty ones. And in fact, we really only have two little troublemakers that I'm most concerned about, where everything else is just sweet. Now, do note that because we are so soon after the eclipses, that earth-shaking eclipse news can still be coming in from July, but they're not coming in from the aspects in August. Those are carryovers from these major events in July. If you haven't already watched my June and July reports, then definitely check that out, because there are pieces in there that are very relevant for this whole period of time. And in the June report, I go into the details about how each eclipse worked your sign individually. So I see those reports as a sister companion to this report as well. So this is a very unusual month. It's very rare that we have like at least 12 beautiful aspects and only 2 difficult ones. So we do have a couple of things to look out for. So I'm going to go into those things. The first thing we need to know is, besides the eclipse changes that are coming in and are starting to set foot, that's definitely still very current in August. If you had things come to you in July and you were holding off to officially sign or to officially put things into motion for the opportunities that came to you in July, I love the middle of August and after for that. There are some sweet days in the first half of August, but those are for more short-term contracts or ones of lower stakes. I am going to go into the dates that I love most for what here in a second, but just be aware that Mercury went direct right at the very end of July. So really at the beginning of August, we're very much covered in Mercury retrograde, and really until August 15th, there's, confusion or uncertainty or still ironing things out, or kind of like temporary or bridge agreement type of energies. But it is a good time to wrap things up, but a lot of new things are also going to be coming in. So that's exciting. So the whole month is definitely very sparkly with zesty Leo energy. And this is burning bright with creative potential. This is, a wonderful month full of the combination of zest from Leo and grounding Virgo. And whenever we have energy like that, it really helps us to be super productive, because there are so many potentials crackling around, but then we also have this, wherewithal and focus to do something about it. So it can really bring substance to that glowing creative potential. It's a truly magical time in the cosmos. So this is one of my favorite months of the whole year for taking big steps, for basking in glory of events that led up to come to fruition now. So basically for projects that have a shorter term intention, like a 6 to 9 month project or something that is just a carryover of something you've been working on, August 7th, 8th, 11th, and 13th could be great for that. For the ones that you are doing like a major launch, big steps, life-changing decisions, long-term things, long-term commitments, my favorite dates are the 21st, the 26th, the 28th, the 30th, and the 31st. So you can also get a write-up of the dates, why I like the dates, what could happen around those times, and other things to look out for a month ahead in your inbox when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So when you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, you will get my write-up a month before the actual month, so you can have a written version of my general transit report for you. Plus you get my 28-day virtual coaching program called Shine for free when you sign up for my free email newsletter. So you can check that out at AnnieHelpsYou.com. So drama and stress are more likely in the days around August 2nd and August 16th. Those are the only times where, now, like I said, not to say that drama can't come from something in your personal chart. Our personal chart is something that we can't really take into consideration when we're looking at horoscopes, because there are so many individual factors in your individual chart that we can't see in the horoscopes. But from the general horoscope perspective, it's very clear sailing. So I'm just going to point out the challenging ones. On August 2nd, we have this Venus in Leo squaring Uranus and Taurus. So even though the theme of this month is happy surprises abound based on all the sweet energy and also a lot of sweet aspects with Uranus, which is why I have the word surprise in there, because Uranus tends to bring surprises. When it's in a challenging aspect, sometimes those surprises are not welcome. And this August 2nd one could be unpleasant or jostling, especially in the areas of money or love or your certainty within yourself. So definitely also guard your physical body with extra care and walk with more awareness, okay? Because it's more likely that something will come flying from a window when you're walking, or, that you just have to pay more attention at this time and guard your physical body. And also just be aware that some bumps might come in the areas of love and beauty and money. The second one that, again, this is an aspect with Uranus. This energy is very much the energy of surprises. And if you've been watching my reports over the last few months, you'll notice I've been using the word surprise a lot. And that's because eclipses bring them in. Sometimes they bring in something that we've expected and hoped for. And in that way, it's not exactly a surprise, but when it actually comes to fruition, it kind of feels like a surprise. So, but then sometimes eclipses also bring in surprises where we're like, we don't really like that. But eclipses have a similar energy to the planet Uranus, and Uranus brings in just like things out of the blue, jolts to your nervous system. And sometimes those are happy jolts, like I said, when they're in sweet aspects. But when they're in these challenging ones, that's when you got to watch out. So we have two of those challenging ones this month, the first and the second. First one is on the 2nd of August, and the second is on August 16th. Now, since that one on August 16th is energetically combined with the full moon in Aquarius, that could be, even though it's a positive full moon in a lot of ways, and I love it for a lot of reasons, this combination of this other aspect being near it is a mixed bag, because you could have something sweet occurring at the same time as this surprise comes in. And since it's in Mercury, it rules news. It also rules mobility. So like being extra careful when walking and driving. And, this is the standard place where we warn, don't text and drive. Don't walk and text. Don't be on your bike texting. Things where your physical body really needs to be minded more, or other people's. This is a time where you don't want to push your luck. So shocking news and other events are more likely. I have seen this manifest as a pleasant surprise, even though it's a difficult angle, but one that brings either exhaustion or some sense of like overdoing, or like you're being challenged in the way that something surprise has come in, but now you have to make room for it in an otherwise also very busy schedule already. So I have seen it manifest that way. But everything else is just sweet, 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 sweet. So those are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits, is just a lot of sweetness. Definitely go to my website, AnnieHelpsYou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. You'll get to see more details about why I like those days that I listed, and what my why I think that they're amazing times for launches. So I go into like an itemized look at each day and each transit in that report. So if you love the way I teach and you want to learn astrology for personal or professional purposes, I can train you how to be a professional astrologer, and I can also assist you to just use it for yourself and your friends. You can check my program out, Astrology Apprenticeship Program, at anniehelpsyou.com. And if you like written horoscopes by me, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com, and a month early I have up more simple, less detailed, but still very helpful because they're written and they've got very important pieces. And a lot of times I talk about different things for your sign than I talk about in the videos. So they're complementary in that way. So you can check those things out. Look at my book, radicalprayerbook.com, or you can just search for Annie Botticelli, Radical Prayer on Amazon. My wonderful little book of prayers and affirmations to help you live in your highest expression. You can see that at radicalprayerbook.com. And check out my husband's website, B.R. Newman, I Am Helios, IAMHELIOS.com, where you can see all the goodies and the things that he's getting himself into now that will be very helpful for you as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.